If you're struggling with low self-esteem and you have trouble getting the confidence that you really desire for yourself, it can really feel oftentimes like you're the only one struggling with it and everybody else has this confidence that you wish that you had. But trust me, you are definitely not alone, myself included, and about 85% of the population struggles with low self-esteem at some point of their life or low self-confidence at some point in their life. So trust me, you are not alone. And at times, it can really be a struggle to figure out what actually works to help you build out your confidence without having these fake it till you make it attitude or philosophy with these strategies. So in this video, I want to give you 7 proven strategies that will help you learn how to harness the power of your brain to actually create lasting change and create some simple tactical steps to start building up your self-confidence in a strategic, powerful way. Tip number 1 is to win the small battles. A lot of times when we're thinking about our confidence and we want to build our confidence and we look at other people that we aspire to be like, a lot of times we think of the big, grandiose things that people have done that give them confidence. Somebody who won a Super Bowl, somebody who's done amazing things in business, and we think, well, I will have confidence when I do this. And a lot of times we put off our confidence until something huge comes down the line. But what we don't realize is our lack of confidence is actually keeping us from reaching those things that we desire, whether it's success in business, athletics, or wherever else it may be. And so really the key here is to win small battles, to make commitments to yourself and to keep them. Because what happens is you create a snowball effect. When you keep those promises to yourself for the little things, those little commitments, like tomorrow morning I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do my workout at 5 o'clock. I've never done it before, but I'm gonna do it. When you make promises like that to yourself and you actually keep that, it's the first step in creating that snowball effect. And then you start doing that with bigger things and bigger things. You start setting bigger goals. And when you win these small little battles, it gives you more confidence to step into the bigger ones. And you keep stepping up and up until you start building this confidence from the inside out. Confidence can't always be faked. Confidence comes from a true understanding of your true worth. And the way you build your worth is by keeping the promises to yourself and by keeping your word. And when you do that in little things and you start creating that snowball effect, it gives you true self-confidence that will build up for the future. I like to think of it like an athlete. An athlete doesn't step onto the Super Bowl field day one and win the Super Bowl. No, they win small battles over time. They won battles in games in college, and they won battles as they were going through the preseason and the actual season, and then in the playoffs until they got to the Super Bowl. And it's really these small victories, those small games that were played before that gave them the skill, it gave them the confidence to actually win the Super Bowl. And their confidence was built before the Super Bowl happened. They already had the confidence needed to win the Super Bowl. So really this comes down to building your confidence now by winning those small battles so that when the big battles come, you already have that confidence that you need. Tip number 2 is to limit your TV time. There was an interesting study that came out that showed that watching TV actually lowers your sense of self-worth. Now remember, a huge part of confidence, having true confidence, is knowing and understanding your self-worth. And having a high self-worth translates into high self-confidence. And when you're watching too much TV, your brain really knows what's going on. Your brain knows you're wasting time, you're not being as productive as you could be, you're sacrificing your goals, you're pushing things off till later. And no matter if you're watching a documentary, you're watching National Geographic, you're watching something that you think is educational, your brain still knows it's not as valuable as the things that you know you could be doing. Maybe you could be going to the gym. Maybe you could be reading a book on a new topic or a new hobby that you want to learn. Maybe you could be starting that business, writing that book. Whatever it may be, your brain somehow understands that watching TV is not good for you in the long term, and studies have shown that it lowers your sense of self-worth. So if you really want to build your self-confidence, you really should be limiting your TV. And in fact, I would swap it with something else that builds your sense of self-worth, whether that's learning a new skill, starting that business, starting to write that book, or maybe you're starting to write blogs that will then turn into your book, practicing before you actually step onto the big stage, whatever it may be. Okay, and tip number 3 might be pretty tough for some of you, and that's really to limit social media time. Now, social media is great. It connects us to more people than ever before. People are building businesses through social media. It's an incredible vehicle. But for some people, that vehicle quickly turns into something dark and frustrating and depressing for some people. Now, if this fits your category, you probably have an experience like this. You probably go into social media feeling okay, but then you start scrolling through Instagram, you start scrolling through TikTok, and you see the way other people are living, and all of a sudden you start thinking, man, why don't I have that life? Why don't I make as much money as that person seems to be making? Why don't I have the Lamborghini? Wow, look at their house. And don't lie, I know you've done that too, because I do it all the time. I have done that all the time, where you look at somebody's life through the edited filters of social media and we think that must be their life. And all of a sudden you start to question how you're living your life and the things you've accomplished and whether you're actually worth it or not. Now, if this sounds like you and your palms are sweating just thinking about social media, then this is probably a great time for you to do a social media fast. I think this is so important. I think it's important for us to take time from social media. If this is something that you are struggling with and you have a hard time really connecting through social media, or it's becoming a vice like something I've just described, this can be something extremely valuable for you. And a lot of people find when they take a step back from social media, it gives them some time to actually process their thoughts and actually be okay with just themselves. And actually, in a way, it's going to build your self-worth because you're going to stop comparing to other people through social media, and you can actually start building your self-worth from within, from what you know, not just what you see through filtered images through social media. Now, tip number 4 is to use music as a tool. You ever have that song that comes on and you're like, dude, this is my jam, gets you hyped up to work out and gets you ready to do that big talk and do a presentation? Or maybe it makes you feel like a little bit more emotional. Maybe it makes you think of somebody in your past or somebody that's important to you or a loved one, whatever that might be. Or it just makes you feel really, really good. Like it's that theme song that you want playing with you all the time while you're walking around the city. There are songs and music that triggers our brain in a very unique way. Music has such an interesting capacity to actually hack into our brain and give us a sense and a feeling through just music. That's why there's certain music that you listen to that gets you ready to work out. It gets you hyped up. And that's why music has such an interesting effect on you. And if it does, you should use it to your advantage. I always like to say music can be a trigger. It can be a trigger for something good if you use it properly, and it can be a trigger to help you relax. And so with something like this, you can use music as a trigger for your confidence. If there's a song that you're like, man, yeah, this makes me feel really good. This makes you stand up a little bit taller, makes you feel a little bit more confident. You should put that song into a playlist. Put all those songs into a playlist and start your day with those. As you're going to work, as you're going into a big meeting, or you're going on a date, whatever it might be. Use those songs to trigger your brain to be more confident, to sit up a little bit taller, whatever it might be. Music can be a powerful tool, and studies show it works and you should use it. In fact, music is so influential to our psychology that there was a study done. And what they did is they took 2 groups of people and they had one group listen to happy music and they had another group listen to sad music. And then they were shown a picture of somebody who was making a neutral, non-expressive face whatsoever and asked them to say what that person was feeling. And guess what happened? The people who listened to the happy music thought the person with no expression looked happy, and the people who listened to the sad music thought the person looked sad. That is how powerful music is to influencing your psychology. All right, so tip number 5 is to work out often. Now, there's no better way to change your state of mind than to move, than to work out, to get a great workout. I mean, how many times have you gotten a great workout and after you got through that little nauseous feeling right after, you left walking taller? You felt good, you felt energized, you felt rejuvenated, you felt like you were standing a little bit taller with your shoulders back. Working out does some incredible things to our brain. Not only does it flood your brain with oxygen, it gives your brain tons of energy, it helps you look better, which then is going to help you feel better, feel more confident because you're working out and you're using your body effectively. Not only that, but working out actually releases endorphins. And endorphins make you happier, but they also make you appear happier and appear more confident. And when you have this true internal sense of confidence and happiness that comes from working out on a regular basis, it starts to wire your brain for that. And that's when people really start to become what I call addicted to working out because it makes them feel so good. It's that secret edge they have that gives them that extra motivation, that gives them that extra confidence. And you can use that to your advantage. That's why so many high performers highly recommend working out first thing in the morning. Yes, of course, there's health benefits to working out, but if you're someone that's struggling with your confidence, this is your secret weapon. This is something you can use every single day to jumpstart your brain with more confidence, that when you step into your day, you're already more confident, you're already feeling happier, you already know your worth because you got a workout done before people were even waking up. Now, tip number 6 is gonna sound a little strange, but it's to follow your nose. Now, hear me out on this. What we're talking about is things like perfumes, cologne, how you smell. Smells have a powerful influence on our brain. Here's why. Your nose connects to a center in your brain called your olfactory nerves, or your olfactory center. This is one of the very few nerves in your system that connects directly to what's called your limbic system. And your limbic system affects your emotions and how you feel. And so that's why you can smell certain smells. When you're walking down a street and you smell a certain food and it reminds you of your grandma's house, or you walk by somewhere else and it reminds you of, another food, and when you went on a vacation, it makes you feel really happy and good. That's because your nose and that sensory system of your smell connects directly to that part of your brain that regulates the way you feel. There's a crazy study done that showed that 90% of women actually feel more confident when they wear perfume. Now, of course, that was talking about women, but I don't think men are immune from this either. I know there are men out there that when they smell better, they feel more confident because they know it's a portrayal of how they want to be presented and the way they smell to other people. And that's a huge part of your sensory system. So if that's something that's important to you and you feel like that's something that's beneficial for you, this is something that works. Not only can it affect the way that you feel like you're being perceived, but it can actually affect the way that people perceive you. Because if that 90% of people feel more confident when they wear perfume, what do you think that's saying about when they smell perfume or cologne on somebody else? So if you not only want to feel more confident in yourself, but you want to appear more confident to other people, try using some smells to help you out with that. Now, this last tip here, I want to spend just a little bit of time on, which is dress the part. Now, you may be thinking that sounds just like fake it till you make it. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this because that's not what we're talking about here. Dressing the part. You probably heard the saying, dress for the job you want, not for the job you have. And the reason is, in order to get to where you want, you have to become someone else. All of us are going to grow, and all of us are going to evolve in our lives. And a lot of that's going to mean we need to change our actions. We need to change our habits. We need to change our routines. We need to change the way that we think about certain things. We need to change our beliefs. And a lot of times in order to do that is going to require a lot of change in our outside world. And in order to do that, in order to appear more confident, I always say a lot of us have an avatar. And an avatar is your ideal self that you perceive that you are able to become. And that avatar is a representation of your ideal self. And a lot of us have this clear image of who we want and who we want to be in our life. And if you don't have one, I highly recommend that you start thinking about the person that you want to become, because your brain's going to pick up on that and your brain's going to try to make that happen. And when you think about that ideal avatar, I want you to think about that ideal self that you're thinking of and think about how they walk. Think about how they dress. Think about how they think about different things. How do they think about when somebody flips them off on the freeway? How do they respond? How do they respond when tragedy happens or when bad things happen? How would the you who you are now versus that person respond? And what you need to start thinking about is, how do I need to change to become that person now? There is no reason that you cannot become that person now. The only difference is the actions and behaviors that future ideal self you has versus what you don't have now. And the only difference is what you can do now. Focus on what you can control and start changing those actions to be a reflection of the ideal self that you want to become. And as you start stepping into that, your brain's going to start picking up and saying, hey, I'm becoming that person, and your confidence is going to start growing. This isn't fake it till you make it. We're not saying we become just some random person that we admire. This is your ideal self, and your brain is really going to resonate with that because it's authentic. It's not something that you faked. It's not something that you're looking up to The Rock or Grant Cardone or Gary Vee and you're trying to emulate them. It's your brain realizing, hey, this is who we want to become. And now we're taking steps forward, and those are small wins. That's truly going to build your confidence from the inside out in a far different way. Thank you so much for dropping by and watching this video, and hopefully you found it extremely useful. And if you did, I would really appreciate it if you just click that like button so that people know this is a really helpful video for their confidence. And if you enjoy videos like this or any other videos on my channel, then make sure you click that red button to subscribe, click that notification bell. That'll give you an alert next time we come out with an amazing video like this, so you get first access to that. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.